Bethel Cemetery.
Okay.
I mean, it probably is Durham Cemetery too, but we're going to just the temple part of it.
Okay.
And there's 2 sections of it, and the first section is really old, like turn of the century for me. It's old, and the second section is probably about turn of the century, 2000.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Like one's the end of the 1800s into the 1900s, and then the next part of it, like there's one chunk, and then there's like a little walkway, and then there's another chunk, and that walkway is circa probably 1970s to current, and the other one was late 1800s to current. But they're running out of room, so we're doing a section 3 that's about to open last week.
One of the other things we're going to do is look at the Silver House.
Yes.
And
Thank you so much.
That's significant because
that's where my grandmother is the baby girl of 8 siblings, and they were all raised in that house. And all born and raised in that house, as a matter of fact.
Like born in the house, like not in a.
No, they really didn't go to hospitals back then. As far as I know, they were born in the house. Yeah. Memorial. I haven't seen this memorial. That must be the new Holocaust memorial. The rocks symbolize when someone they know and love has come to visit them, and they put that on their gravesite so that they can kind of like build steps up to heaven. So, this is Aunt Pat. Beloved daughter, sister, and aunt, her joy for life was reflected in her sparkling blue eyes, and what else did it say? Resting with those she loved. 1910 to 2010. She lived almost 100 years. Silver. This is Uncle Lewis, who is really great Uncle Lewis, and he lived just about a little over a year from the time his wife died. And he was a Mason, which is kind of odd to have a Jewish Mason. So that's kind of, well, it's not odd, it's just not common for that. And he was born on Valentine's Day. And we said he was a little Cupid, but he said he was a little devil. So, where we just were, behind you, and if you look behind you now in your pen, you can see this is the fence to the Hebrew cemetery, and it looks like a menorah. Well, just like a menorah. It is a menorah. And then behind you is section 2 of the Hebrew cemetery, and it is almost full. And in section 1, which was the initial Hebrew cemetery itself, was very, very tiny, and it's when they first started to have the temple, before the temple was built, up through building the temple and then having parishioners. The first row is kind of like an honor or tribute to people to be buried on the first row because they had great significance in the temple. So my great grandmother is Rosa Levine Silver, and this is her. behind the azalea, which forever blooms, so there we go. This is Herman Silver. He too was a Mason, and Herman was Rosa's husband, and I'm gonna have to check the dates, but I'm pretty sure Herman was killed on the way coming home early from market on Rosa's birthday one year. And when he passed, he left behind his wife and 8 children, and she was 36 with 8 kids. So, and it was on her birthday.
How did you feel about what happened tonight? What did you feel about how was it good to share? Was it interesting? Was it...
It's always good to kind of go back home and revisit everybody. You know what I mean? But it's also good to see where I came from. And to think how life must have been like back then.
You kind of got emotional in there a few times. What was that all about?
I did get emotional. It's just, I don't know if it's so because you're so close where you are with everybody, and you know, you and I have talked about, you know, your own demise eventually, but then also it's like a really long distance home, you know, because it's, you know, family.
So you feel when you're there you have this connection to those people.
Because where you were, you would have been there with my dad.